Test one, test one.
Ruth, you will be penalized. Okay. This is a regular open meeting of the Third Laguna Hills Mutual Board of Directors, a California non-profit mutual benefit corporation. Today is Tuesday, October 15, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. in this boardroom. Here at Laguna Woods Village Community Center boardroom, you can log in or watch it through the Zoom. Address of the boardroom is at 24351 El Toro Road, Laguna Woods, California 92637. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We have quorum. First, let's do Pledge of Allegiance. Could you stand up?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reza. Now, approval of agenda. Can we approve? Robert first, and Reza.
I object substantially to the agenda, and I wish to make a statement.
Okay.
I object to the agenda as published, as it flatly is contrary to the board's decision. Pardon me. As it is flatly contrary to the board's decision to place the matter of my exclusion from closed session on today's agenda under new business. I remind you that I moved at agenda prep meeting on October 4th that I be readmitted to all closed sessions. At the time, many of the directors present objected to dealing with that issue at the agenda prep meeting, and it was unanimously agreed that it would be placed on the agenda at the upcoming monthly board meeting, this meeting. That was a decision of the board, and it has not been rescinded. Therefore, it must, as a matter of law, be placed back on the agenda for this meeting. And I dealt with that under I will deal with that under new business. I already wrote the board to make my position known, but solely to make a record, I must restate that position. Let's review what led up to the moment. On October 4th, the board decided at agenda prep that the issue belongs at the regular meeting, and they placed it on today's agenda. Now someone without authority has presumed to move the issue to executive session, and I remind you that pursuant to Section 7210 of the Davis-Sterling Act, the business of this corporation shall be conducted by the board, not separately by SK Park or whomever decided on their own to take the matter off today's agenda. It's a board decision only. And assuming Resolution 03-23-106 remains in effect, I am currently very conveniently excluded from any discussion at closed. There, the proceeding will be supervised by a lawyer who improperly prosecuted me in the first place, a conflict of interest. What is going on is embarrassingly clear. This board has developed its own version of whack-a-mole. Every time I attempt to address the issue, you'll pardon me, the forum changes. Please forgive me if I refuse to play that game. But worse, HOA law, specifically Section 4935 of the Davis-Sterling Act, prohibits any consideration of this issue in executive session, a subject that I now address. According to 4935, all business of the corporation, unless specifically excluded by that section, must be conducted at an open meeting. So this topic cannot be legally shunted off to closed. For the record, here are the only subjects that can be dealt with in executive closed session. Matters relating to the formation of contracts with third parties, member discipline, personnel matters, or to meet with a member upon the member's request. My exclusion was certainly not a member discipline matter. Those matters are dealt with solely through executive hearing committee hearings, and my exclusion was never dealt with by our executive hearing committee. But even if it was deemed a disciplinary matter, subsection B of 4935 specifically allows the disciplined member to demand that the matter be dealt with in an open session. So to the extent that anyone on the board deems this topic one of discipline, I would demand that it be handled as an open matter. The membership is entitled to see how the board treats the single loudest voice for the members' rights, me. I well understand that there is some among us who might feel uncomfortable, but that doesn't change a damn thing. It doesn't change the rule. It doesn't change the law. So
I'd like to suggest that
So
I
please
second
avoid
the
any
original agenda.
unpleasantness by
If
placing
Jules
my
wants to have a
readmission
conversation, you
application
can have it
back
somewhere else.
on the open
This doesn't need to go
agenda
on, it's a
of this
waste of
meeting.
time.
Joe, could you summarize? Are you in now?
Pardon me?
Could you stop?
I have made my statement now.
Okay, so we'll discuss.
I'd like to second the original agenda.
Okay. So second original,
Motion and second, yeah.
so,
I move to Brad second.
Yeah, we already have a motion on the floor.
Right.
He was just
So-
opposing the
right.
motion,
So,
so.
we already have agenda in closed session. I know you don't like it. However, we cannot discuss your legal matters, personal matters on open session. That is our main question.
Well, you apparently didn't hear what I just said, because it has to be an open session.
No,
Because
just-
there is no.
That's your opinion, and we've heard your opinion. Thank you.
Yes.
Let's move on
Thank
with
you.
our
That is your
business.
opinion. We'll deal with it, okay? So let's vote about the agenda. Can we vote for the approval of agenda?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I vote no, obviously.
Okay, go ahead. How about Ruth?
I approve.
Okay?
Chair Park, do you want to put in your vote as well?
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. Motion passes 7-1.
Who's next? Okay, we're done. So, motion to pass, to go ahead with the agenda prep. So we'll go ahead with the, as agenda, okay? Okay. Approval of, next item is approval of the minutes. I'm going to read all of these. March 27, 2024, third board special MNC landscape general workshop. B, May 23rd, 2024, third budget report, MNC and the general service review. C, June 3rd, 2024, third budget landscape review. D, July 15, 2024, third business plan review plan version 2. E, August 19, 2024, board budget 2024 business plan review version 3. Up to this point, it's pretty all budget-related meetings. F, September 7, 2024, regular board meeting. G, September 27, 2024, special open meeting for election. G, H, October 3rd, 2024, annual meeting for 54th third board annual meeting minutes. I, October 3rd, organizational meeting, 54th third board organizational meeting minutes. J, October 4th, 2024, agenda prep meeting. Can I ask any motion to approve the agenda?
I make a
minutes?
motion to approve all the minutes listed below in one vote.
Okay. Second, move. So, any discussion?
There's a question.
I was not present for A through H.
Okay,
I can only approve items I and J.
okay,
So I would need to abstain from the others
okay.
and only approve I and J.
Is it going to say with the, correct? And how about Ruth?
I approve.
Okay, so should we vote by raising hand? Excuse me?
You got
Okay,
the
so,
Ruth raising hands.
okay, so
Yeah,
to raise a
okay.
hand
You
to
already
approve
got
the
the
minutes? How about you, Jules? Okay, he does not approve. So the vote is total 5-1 to abstain. Am I correct? So it's been approved. Thank you. Now, report of chairs. Item 5. Hello to all of our third mutual board. My name is Sang Kun Park, aka SK Park, chairing today's October board meeting as I have elected as the president of the third board. As a part of the report of the chair, first of all, I'd like to introduce our 8th board of directors, newly formed at the 54th third mutual annual open board meeting on October 3rd. First, myself, SK Park. Second, Director Raza Karimi. Raise your hand and acknowledge it, please. And then Director Moon Yoon. Director Brad Reinhardt. Director Ruth Johnson, she's on the Zoom. And then Director Robert Muchnick. And Director Craig Wayne. And Director Jewel Jellins. Could you acknowledge yourself? Good, thank you. However, we still have 3 vacancies left, and we, third board of directors, plan to fill those vacancies as early as we can. Just a reminder to all third residents that the application is still open, and the last day of application is October 18. And that the day of selection to fill the vacancies is scheduled on Monday, October 28th. Among the 8 board of directors, those who will serve as 5 officers of the board are as follows. President of the board, Director SK Park. First Vice President, Director Reza Karimi. Second Vice President, Director Brad Reinhardt. Treasurer, Director Craig Wayne. Secretary of the board is Director Ruth Johnson. Thank you, all directors. Now, I'm certain that All of our newly formed current 8 board of directors will include, directors including 3 future board of directors as a solid 1 unit will discharge their fiduciary duty with the utmost dignity and fair, and will serve our 3rd mutual members, residents, with the common senses and honors. My phrase will be resident first. Thank you for listening. Now, without further ado, I would like to continue next item 6, open forum. That means we need to be quiet. It's time for us to listen to our member comments. Prior to member comments, I would like to remind that any open forum speakers are limited for 3 minutes per speaker. And at this time, members only address the board of the directors regarding items not on the agenda and the jurisdiction of this board of directors. The board reserve the right to limit the total amount of the time allotted for open forum to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. Speakers may not give their time to other people. No audio or video recording by attendees, and no rude or threatening comments. Members can attend the meeting by joining Zoom link https://zoom.us/j/94/949806-730 or call 1-669-900-6833 or email meeting@vmsinc.org to have your message read during the open forum. Michaela, do we have any member comments?
So I'll be taking it. Chris Collins is our first member.
Good morning, Chris Collins, 3306Q. I'm here with an update on the work of the foundation of Laguna Woods Village, which we do on behalf of residents who are experiencing temporary financial crisis. Meet your good neighbor, the Florence Sylvester Senior Center. On September 28th this year, National Good Neighbor Day gave us a chance to recognize and appreciate the important role of neighbors. Being a good neighbor can help build strong relationships, prevent social isolation, enrich our cultural experiences, and ensure help in emergencies. Getting to know our neighbors is the first step in building a stronger neighbor relations. A new initiative by the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village is with Age Well, and it's intended to introduce a good neighbor near the village, which is the Florence Sylvester Senior Center. Beginning on September 9th, as part of a program called Nutrition Connections, which is to encourage residents to learn about and participate in the Florence Sylvester Senior Center, any resident taking a village bus to the center can get free lunch for 1 month, funded by the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village. There are 2 requirements for village residents. They must arrive on a village bus, and they must make a call for a reservation before, where you call is 949-380-0155, extension 15. Through this new initiative, residents can enjoy a nutritious lunch while socializing with other residents. This is an opportunity to meet the village's good neighbor, which is Florence Sylvester Senior Center, and participate in many programs while also learning how to use the village bus transportation. At the Senior Center, you may want to play bingo, enjoy a game of cribbage, knit or crochet, participate in chair yoga, or get iPhone technical assistance. For more information about the foundation, please go to our website, which is the foundation of lagunawoodsvillage.org, or you can contact us at the foundation at comline.com about this Good Neighbor initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Anybody else?
Yes,
Okay.
next speaker is Jennifer Sue.
My name is Jennifer Shu, the building captain of Manor 3243. At the board meeting in September, after Mr. Eric Nunes spoke, I realized my building has not one, but two troublemakers. Both are using the HOA complaint process to retaliate against other building residents. Our HOA complaint process is good, but not ideal. Currently, when there is a complaint, compliance inspectors are sent to investigate. In fairness, they conduct a building sweep, which inevitably generates other violation citations on other residents. Troublemakers can use this process to retaliate against residents and building captains like me and cause grief upon a lot of people. Some residents are so fearful of such retaliation that they don't report any nuisance or rule violations by troublemakers. This is the classic definition of being bullied. This is what's been happening in my building for years. Building sweeps and follow-up investigations take time. Compliance notices and citation letters are intimidating to many residents. To them, getting citation letters feels like they just got charged with a crime. My building is nearing the end of 2 building sweeps instigated by 2 troublemakers. For the first building sweep alone, 2 inspectors spent 3 whole days. That's 6 man days going through every carport, every unit's front door area on all 3 floors. The second building sweep was a result of a retaliatory complaint targeted at me. It was totally unnecessary. It occurred only 4 days into the 10-day cure period from my first citation. Instead of the 2 building sweeps, compliance could have achieved the same result by simply spending 1 or 2 hours talking with me, the building captain. I could have told them the real problem. The real problem in our building was not the clutter, because residents in our building were, for the most part, tolerant of each other's clutter. The real problem was the 2 troublemakers wanting to do whatever they wanted, placing personal furniture all over the building and letting the dog run around without the leash inside the building. An investigation that does not get the full story is flawed. Unnecessary building sweeps waste limited HOA resources. Instead of building sweeps, let us consider more non-confrontational / educational dialogue between staff and residents / building captains, especially for minor HOA rule violations. I believe there is room for improvement for our current HOA complaint system. We need to seek ways to improve the working relationship between staff and residents. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Bill Walsh.
Good morning. Congratulations to the new members of the board. I know what you're in for. I'm here again, and this is the 3rd time since March, to talk about missing streetlights. As some of you know, some of you don't know, between 2018 and 2019, Third Board purchased about 788 streetlights, cul-de-sac lights included. In January, a friend of mine who lives on Carrizo, directly across from cul-de-sac 323, noticed the damaged light pole. The concrete underneath it and the rebar was bent. And he sent me a picture. And a couple of days later, he sent me a picture of another one that I have yet to find out from him what the address was on that. I came here, I believe, in March and reported that these poles are probably dangerous. And since then, at least the one pole that I know of was removed. Okay, there's a cone there, and the residents have obviously put plastic flowers in there. I don't know if it's a rest in peace sign or not. But here we are, and I came back in July, and I reported this, and asked Smart Laws to send me some information on these light poles, what was happening, why they weren't getting replaced. They had been, at least this one had been removed. and some other information about solar, which he did send me, but I never got any information on these light poles. The light pole numbers that were reported to me by my friend are 0077T and 010T, okay? I've had a couple conversations with VMS, and in both cases, the employees were under the impression that these were SCE-owned lights and that they were going to get a hold of SCE, and I had to educate them that no, theoretically, Third has a vendor somewhere that's supposed to maintain these lights. I don't know if that's still in effect. Back in 2019, I was under the impression that Siemens had a contract. I don't know if they still have a contract with Third or not, but we're coming into the dark period of the year. This community has always had inadequate lighting, street lighting and sidewalk lighting and cul-de-sac lighting. And the idea back then when we purchased the light poles and put on LED fixtures was that we would improve it. We could use more, but to start losing light poles and fixtures is not a good plan. So if somebody could tell me, you could get a hold of me or call me or whatever, because my friend and I would really like to know if you're going to replace the light poles. I don't know that if Edison is still charging you a tariff for these poles, because Edison owns the wiring up to the pole, not in the pole, and you're probably getting charged a tariff for that light pole, regardless of whether it's using electricity or not. So I think it'd be good if you replace them. And thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, our last speaker is Teresa Baumann.
Well, good morning, and thank you for being here, because I know that our village can't...
Could you
run with-
speak to this mic, please?
Excuse me?
Speak to mic, yes.
Oh, okay. I know our village can't operate without people like you. First of all, I'd like to say I'm a 9-year resident, and I'm very, very happy. I love my building. I love my neighbors. I'm just, I guess, in oblivion, but I've had a very good experience here for the last 9 years. The subject I'd like to address is the lack of ability to plug in my electric car and having breakers flip. I just was alerted to this because, and I rented an electric car for a week to make sure that it was going to fit in with my lifestyle, that I was going to be able to charge, only to find out after I purchased the electric car that somebody who plugs in their golf cart can trip the breaker. And not only is it in my carport, but it's in all the other carports, all 3 carports. By the way, I'm Manor number 3486. So I don't know what you're doing to address this, but I think that we all get a sticker, and so all the people that have stickers should at least be alerted to acknowledging the problem, because I was in shock when I found out that this was a problem. When I got my sticker for my new car, they said, the employees told me, oh yeah, this is a big problem across the whole community. And so I was very surprised that I had no clue that this was going to happen. And here I am with a new car, and I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to make it. I know you have a charging back here, but I've got to pay for it, and that kind of negates part of the reason why I bought an electric car. So I would really like it to know that you're going to, look at all the people who have the stickers, maybe send out an email or address it with them about acknowledging it, and what maybe some of the solutions might be for that. And I'd like to know, too, if you'd consider any solar, adding solar to the roofs of the carports, if that's even a possibility. There was a retired electrician that was standing next to me at the window when I went over to get my sticker for the gate, and he overheard me talking to the employee, and he told me he was a retired electrician, and he says, this problem is not going to be handled anytime soon. You're talking about a lot of money. So I'm aware of that, but at least keep me informed so I just don't feel bewildered about the situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay. Any comments from board? Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I want to
talk about Ms. Jennifer Sue. This is the second time or third time, I guess, you coming and complaining. I just need to know what we are doing, Siobhan, anything that we are doing to address this issue, because this is not the right way. They every time come and we still have the same issue. Probably Chief can
Yes, I
shed
have
some
Jennifer
light on
Nunez
that.
here to answer that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. And congratulations,
Thank
Mr.
you.
President and members of the board. This is for just, I want to make it clear that no one in compliance, inspectors or the compliance folks that do the investigations are agents of any particular party or any individual. We don't engage in retaliation. We can only enforce HOA rules that are being violated. So unless you're violating an HOA rule, then, if you're not, then you have nothing to fear or worry about from compliance or the inspectors. We don't go after people like that. That's not our job. It's not our mission, and it's certainly not something I would stand for as a director for our compliance department. I know their manager doesn't either. I know that the manager, Francis Gomez, was going to be available to give a closed session briefing to you, then give you specifics that I can't actually give you in terms of names of people and all that kind of stuff, but she'll be able to give that to you. I can tell you that in terms of the clutter, the process is underway, and there are only 3 residents now that remain out of compliance. In the last 100 days, only 7 calls have been received for neighbor complaints. The storage cabinets, this is pending as an alterations department needs to conduct an audit in order to look at those. That was some of the issues that they were having. And then the animal nuisance that Ms. Sue has described looked like it was regarding at least 2 residents, that the dogs don't be allowed in the common area. This is not a rules violation, but rather a subject that some people are more sensitive than others about. We, and when I say we in compliance have asked all the individuals within that area that we've had contact with to call security and or compliance for any violations and cease going through the building captain as a way of trying to vet these things out, but just go directly to security and compliance so that we can handle these complaints. And as we described in the last meeting, the majority of the folks that were found in violation were actually in compliance now. In regards to, I know people get upset about getting letters and feeling like they've been marked or somehow this is an arrest of some sort. But the word compliance means simply to comply in this regard. So they send out a letter saying, we noticed you're in violation of this HOA rule. Please, you have this many days to get into compliance. Sort of cease and desist with this behavior or these actions or inactions. And then if they don't do anything, if they correct the issue, then there's no further action required. And that's it. So it's a letter, a warning, essentially. And they get usually 2 of those before we actually start looking at setting up some sort of executive committee hearing on a disciplinary issue. So the goal of compliance is precisely that, to gain compliance. And that's what we try to do. And we have they get a couple bites at the apple before we even move forward with any kind of disciplinary. And when we do, it's suggested to the board, and they can decide whether this esteemed board wants to move forward with it or not. So there are a number of management controls, you might say, that's in place in favor of the members, and to use your discretion as well. So I just want to reassure the members that all of those things are in place for their benefit and the benefit of us actually living harmoniously together and making sure that we do our job to make sure that the rules, are at least followed or closely followed.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yes.
May I say something?
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. That's the compliance side. I completely understand. It takes only one person to complain, although the rest of the neighbor might be okay with the clutter, but we have rules that we have to follow. So if somebody complain, we have to respond. That's, we cannot just ignore it because somebody's breaking the rule. I understand might be nitpicking, might be somebody going after somebody, all of that. I think the other issue here is we have a group of neighbors that having issue. And is it possible that either someone from VMS have a meeting with that three-story building and kind of not the problem resolution, but explain the procedure and what works, what doesn't work, how we can work together, how to be good neighbor. I think we help that, the three-story building to come together and have less problem and less headache, because if this continues, it just might not be a big issue, but it's just nuisance. It's nuisance for people that live there. People want to live in peace, not in constant, fighting. Is there a way that VMS can do something in this regard with that building?
I can tell you that my last meeting I had spoke about this, that we'd actually had been in contact with Stuart about the president of Garden Village, and he's aware of it. And when our discussions were so that somehow we could mitigate this and discuss this among the groups and set up something so that we could explain the process and make it clear to them that we don't do like sweeps or whatever, however they're described. We act on, as violations are presented to us, and that's how we conduct business.
Okay. Yeah, anything that can do to heal that group of neighbors in there.
I'll follow
to
up
everyone's
with
benefit.
I'll follow up with Francis to find out where they are with that, or if he had had interest in assisting with facilitating that kind of a meeting, because he has a number of meetings. I've been to a couple of them where his whole group, that representatives in that group, show up and discuss these issues as like a town hall kind of thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dr. Lin?
This issue come up already 2-3 times, and we are not able to handle this. What the problem is still continue, and we don't know how long it's gonna go on. And building captain is a volunteer job. They are doing a lot of service to the building and the resident over there. If somebody not only make some problems with the other people, but also these two individuals are doing retaliation, that's well beyond that something problems. So if the security department, our HOA security department cannot handle this, can you handle it, first of all?
Well, first of all, the two people that you're referencing never filed a report against us, as they didn't engage in retaliation. I want to make that perfectly clear, because that was said last time, and I was clear last time that they were actually not reporting parties. So there was no way they could have retaliated in an official sense and said, hey, we want you to go and investigate these people, because they didn't do that. They're not on any of our documents as being a reporting party. So that did not occur. And I think coming from the preposition that it actually occurred, and then you have that anchored in your belief that that's what's occurred, doesn't release you to understand or at least see the facts. The facts are that it did not occur. They're not retaliating. And so it's important to know that, because that issue that you say is being brought up is the same issue that was brought up before, and we see progress on that issue in terms of compliance, in terms of all the things that have been, and these things, and as I said, out of the 100 days, we've had 7 calls, right? So it's not something that's being repeated. It's a constant issue between. They may be having issues within the neighborhood or the area in which they live, but it's not something that's being officially complained to by us to investigate about neighbor to neighbor kind of stuff. And that's what I want to make clear is that compliance is only acting on those HOA violations that are clearly HOA violations.
Okay. Yes.
Robert, let me, I haven't finished yet.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. Let me finish it, okay? Okay. If you need more HOA, the mutual can make a rule or resident policy. We could do that and have this can, be stopped. If we need another rule or whatever rule, we will make that. Also, I was just thinking, if HOA or our people cannot handle this, this can go on beyond that, the Orange County Sheriff Department or those issues. If it's a legal action is needed, I think Third Mutual have to help them out. Or we can initiate that legal action. And this needs to be stopped. What if nobody want to volunteer building captain? I'm so grateful Jennifer still doing building captain. And I'm really grateful. And she keep coming back here trying to ask him for help. If we don't help it, and we don't have any building captain volunteering, is that what we'd like to see? Thank you.
Yes, please.
Director Nunez, if I'm hearing you correctly, you said there have only been in the last 100 days 7 complaints. So if I'm hearing you correctly, what I'm suggesting to the residents of the building is that if they are having these internal struggles with some other residents within the building that are either harassing or dog, whatever, those kinds of things, they need to report every one of those incidents to security. So A, you can log them, B, you can respond to them, and then action can be taken. Is that correct?
That's correct, and that's what I said at the beginning, right?
That's what I thought.
We've asked that they report this to security and/or compliance.
So I'm hearing that there are issues, but unless they're brought formally to the attention of security and then compliance, that individuals have to file those kinds of things for us to act on, to know that they're actually more than just, exchanges between residents.
Yes, sir, Mr. Director. And I think it's kind of what Mr. Director Yoon was saying, that if it was even something that raised the level of criminal conduct or criminal activity, the Sheriff's Department would not be able to act on that unless they knew there was a crime, being reported, and they've never received a report of a crime. And we've also, if there's a situation with animals that goes beyond HOA rules, then we would certainly want to have to report that to our animal control officers, and get them involved if there's that kind of a violation. I mean, there is a process. I just think that the problem that's being described or the concern may not be as it seems, or it may seem that way for the people that are feeling this, but it may not be exactly what they think we're investigating, because we're not investigating that kind of thing, and we're trying to do the best job just to stay focused on those things that we actually are under our purview to do actual investigations on.
Okay. Yes.
My question is, do you send a letter out to the resident and the owner when there's a violation?
Yes, the owner actually
So
gets
the renter and the owner gets a letter?
the letters.
Both?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Moon has it.
Yes, Shima.
I was going to address the street light issue, but I'll defer to.
Oh, okay. Are we going to still discuss about this one? Okay. Okay. Yes.
The building captain Jennifer come up here about 3 or 4 times already, talking about the retaliation problems, all that. If that's not enough, what else is around? She's been reporting to the board for 3-4 times. We haven't done anything.
Okay, I understand that. Yes, please.
Since my name has been taken. in
Yes,
vain.
please do.
I'm Stuart Hack, President of the Gardenville Association. This is one of 3 buildings where this has been going on. Is this working?
Yes.
And I think there would be a better picture if you looked at the records going back 12 months, because it came in groups and then settled down. And it came in groups when the people in the building who were refusing to live by the rules in the building retaliated. Now, I just heard that none of these people made these, that they were not the people who made these accusations. If that's true, over the last 12 months, then we need to recalculate. But I think we need to look at the last 12 months to see what the whole, what's really going on.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yes, Siobhan?
Thank you. I wanted to address Mr. Walsh's question about the 2 streetlights. Our staff indicates they have been ordered. They do have a long lead time, however. Staff is going to see if they can expedite the delivery of those poles. And it is being handled through our contractor, who is Unex, and it used to be Siemens. So, thank you.
Thank you, Siobhan.
Okay, so that's great.
I have one.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and the EV chargers, I guess we have to address that too. There was concern. EV charging have been discussed many, many times. Our infrastructure doesn't allow us to take 220 to the, to these carports. We have 120, we don't have enough juice. If there are 3 people that they're triple carport, that they have their car in there and they want to plug in, it's not going to work. And we don't have enough juice in there, enough power to do that. And there is no plan to change the infrastructure because that's extremely expensive. As you know, there's some station back here, and they built a lot of station by the Santa Maria. They're all for Tesla. There are like 15 or 16 of them. But for the time being, if there's only one person, they can plug in, but it takes 8 hours to get 30% charge because we don't have the infrastructure that needed for the EV charging. And TERT has looked at it, other mutual looked at it, and we don't have any plan and enough reserve and money to attack that issue at this time, unfortunately. So it is what it is, unfortunately.
Okay.
I'd like to.
Thank you.
That's
My
okay.
comment.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I'd like
I'm
to-
sorry.
Are you using a level 1 or a level 2 charger?
I don't know, I just plug it in the wall.
Just plug it in the normal outlet? Okay.
Okay.
I also have an EV, and I'm in a carport also. Right now, I'm the only one that uses a level 1 charger in there, so I don't have issues. The carport structure is adequate to hold solar panels. I've already had my engineer look at that. One of your options would be to, the dilemma is how much is the HOA or the community responsible to provide electricity to charge vehicles? And we've kind of come to the point that we're not really, just like we don't have a gas station so that gas cars can fill up here. But having said that, you can look at putting solar panels on the top. And then I also am looking at putting a battery so that the solar panels charge during the day. I usually charge my car at night. Batteries are a little bit expensive, but that would be a solution for you. And a lot of it depends on what your driving history is too. Are you driving typically 20 miles a day? If that's the case, you probably don't need a level 1 charger in the outlet and charge it in when the golf cart's not plugged in. I have a Prius Prime, which is a 25-mile battery, so a level 1 is fine for me. But I'm looking at getting an EV also, and then I know that probably won't be adequate. I typically drive more than that. So a lot of it is what your lifestyle is, how much you drive, and then what type of charge you can use. The other thing I'll tell you is the level 1, level 2 chargers are much better for the battery life than fast charging. So I would use the slowest type of charger that meets your needs, and that's all.
I'm just curious to know if new residents are told of this. It was a shock to me.
Well, it's a 60-year-old facility, and our electrical is 60 years old. The good news is, long-term, like 2 or 3 years from now, there's probably a viable path towards providing more power to the buildings, because when they did the, what was it, the cabling for television, they ran a second set of conduit. And at some point, when they update the cabling for the broadband, that will free up excess conduit for electric. So there is a long-term opportunity to move more power to the buildings, not necessarily to the carports, but to the buildings.
Is there someone here I can make an appointment with, one-on-one, so I can have a better understanding?
I'll have that scheduled for you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Phone number to let me know?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we discussed fully. So let's move on to the next item. Consent calendar. Item 9. Can we?
No,
shall we
it's the
move, or-
CEO report.
Oh, excuse me, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll try to be
go
brief.
on, yeah. And number item 8, the CEO report.
Thank you. Honorable President, members of the board, I just wanted to share some key updates this morning. I wanted to start with the Employee Service Awards. As we recently celebrated the 60th anniversary of the village, we're also celebrating our employees who've reached their 30, 35, 40, and 45-year anniversaries with this community. I want to thank those employees for their incredible dedication and commitment to the community, and hope that there's many more years of shared achievements. In terms of 30 years of service, we're recognizing Alejandra Manza, Gardner 2, Tony Ward, lead general maintenance carpenter. Our 35-year subservice employees include Alejandra Escalante, general paving worker, Felipe Garcia, maintenance painter, Jesse Caeros, maintenance carpenter technician, Jose Alvarez, maintenance carpenter, Jose Vargas, grounds maintenance land foreman. Also with 35 years of service are Laura Cooley, Performing Arts Center supervisor, Marcelo Diaz, irrigation technician, Mauricio Rodriguez, tree trimmer technician, Walter Perry, general maintenance foreman. Our 40-year employee is Roberto Arcia, irrigation supervisor. And we have 3 employees with 45 years of service to this community, which is just amazing. Emegno Manzia, custodian, Jose Velasquez, ground maintenance land foreman, and Jose Viveros, maintenance painter. If you see any of these employees out and about in the community, please congratulate them on their service to our community.
Congratulate to all of them.
Thank you. I'd like to switch gears to the Clippings pilot program, which has launched. As you know, the surge in clippings pickup requests has led landscaping services to explore new methods to enhance efficiency and reduce costs. The initiative that we are focusing on this morning transitions to eco-friendly solutions for clippings pickup, which aligns with the Senate bill that mandates comprehensive organic waste services for all communities. Since this legislation was enacted, the village has seen a significant increase in pickup requests, costs, and logistical challenges. In 2023, for example, the department processed approximately 2,000 requests from 660 units. The pilot program itself focuses on 300 units that request green waste pickups most frequently. Each of those received a 25-gallon non-woven bucket. This reduces pickup time and costs and allows staff to better utilize resources. This contributes to reducing plastic waste, supports eco-friendly practices, and provides a convenient functional solution for green waste. Staff is monitoring the effectiveness and evaluating the efficiency and cost savings of this improvement. Pictured on the screen before you is an employee using one of the new containers. And again, it's a lightweight, functional container, and Landscaping Services estimates that it will save 5 minutes per ticket in terms of time, and this equates to about a $10,000 savings per mutual each year. So we look forward to reporting on the effectiveness of the pilot program. We frequently also talk about how best to engage our residents and provide helpful information. As you are aware, the Media and Communications Division, working with Village Television, digitized the docent tours for prospective new residents, and this saves about $15,000 to $20,000 annually. New and existing residents may watch a comprehensive village community tour experience. They can go to the website and select the tagline, "Where New Adventures Begin." This is also shown during new Laguna Woods Village living events. And the new living event is what I'd like to highlight this morning. This welcomes prospective, new, and existing residents to learn about the village for the first time or learn how to get the most out of their community. Sessions are led by our village ambassadors. These are committed resident volunteers with extensive knowledge of the community and supported by our media and communications staff. The first event was held last Tuesday, October 8th in the community center. Attendees watched the video, ambassadors shared information about amenities, communication channels, and more. There was a Q&A session with helpful hard copy information provided. The next event is Tuesday, November 12th, here in the Elm Room of the Community Center. An RSVP is required. You can email information at lagunawoodsvillage.com to be part of the Laguna Woods Village Living event. Please note this does not replace the new resident orientation sessions that are hosted by each of the mutuals here in the village. With the election approaching, we also wanted to share voting options with our residents. On Saturday, November 2nd, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., in the Performing Arts Center Clubhouse 3 parking lot, the Orange County Register of Voters will host a 2024 presidential election pop-up vote center where village residents can register to vote, cast ballots, drop off vote by mail ballots, use an accessible ballot marking device, and receive language assistance. The pop-up center is available only to Laguna Woods Village residents. And then on November 5th, or for the November 5th election, there's a drop box at the Laguna Woods City Hall, located at 24246 El Toro Road. And from October 7th through November 5th, voters can place completed ballots in the drop box. The drop box is open 24 hours a day until conclusion of in-person voting. Ballots will be regularly collected by the county's Registrar of Voters and can actually be tracked individually on their website, which is www.ocvote.gov/VLT if you want to track your ballot. And in case you're wondering, the drop box weighs more than 1,000 pounds and is securely anchored to the ground. The vote center is also going to be housed at City Hall. From November 2nd to 5th, voters can vote in person at City Hall. And the hours are the following: November 2nd to the 4th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and on November 5th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then there's a slew of other voting information available on the Orange County website, ocvote.gov/voting. The Orange County Sheriff's Department also asked us to alert our residents to a scam alert within our community. Village residents have been targeted by fraudulent calls from individuals impersonating bank representatives. Legitimate banks will never request a social security number, bank PIN number, or driver's license number, or ask you to withdraw account funds. Scammers may use the name and telephone number of your actual bank branch to enhance its credibility. To protect yourself, the Sheriff's Department recommends you hang up immediately, call the customer service number on your ATM card to verify their call. If you can't reach your bank, you can call the OCSD non-emergency number at 714-288-6742. And if you share personal information, please report it to the Sheriff's Department immediately. And then as the winter months approach, the El Toro Water District reminds residents to prevent clogs from fog. Fats, oil, and grease are common byproducts of cooking, especially during the holiday season. Pouring these substances down the drain can lead to serious plumbing issues. Fog solidifies as it cools, causing blockages in pipes that can lead to costly repairs, blockages, and sewer backups in homes and neighborhoods. The Water District asked to prevent clogs from fog using the following tips. After cooking, allow fog to cool, pour it into a container, an empty jar or can, and dispose it in your green waste container. Wipe pans and dishes with a paper towel before washing to remove residual grease. Keep wipes out of your pipes. Even wipes marked disposable are not safe for the sewer system. And lastly, the Water District encourages you to keep these items out of your drain: meat drippings, gravy, sour cream, shortening lard, butter, and margarine, mayonnaise, bacon grease, salad dressing, and cooking oil. And so hopefully we can all have a spill-free holiday season with these tips. And that concludes my update this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Any question? Yes.
Siobhan, the voting station is open to the public, is that correct?
Except for the pop-up center here in the village on
Yeah,
November 2nd.
it's open, so
But
what
the
is
one at
our
City Hall is,
security arrangement for people coming to the PAC and not going through the neighborhood? How are we going to handle that when public comes in for the vote?
well, they would have to get through gate clearance, and they won't be cleared through the gate.
But after that, when they go to the voting station, they're allowed to go around the community, or
No, our
how they
voting,
know that
our
they have to
voting,
go back?
our voting station is limited to Laguna Woods Village residents only.
Oh, okay.
Only.
So
On
there is-
November 2nd.
Because that was the
yes.
question I was, okay.
Yes, it's only residents.
It's
I'm
only
sorry.
residents.
The one at City Hall is open to the general public.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And
Thank
there
you.
is also a lot of El Toro water activity in Gate 10. I was asked what's going on. I don't know.
Please let me get you an update, and I'll share it
Yeah,
as soon
I
as I receive
appreciate
it.
that, because
Okay.
there are a lot of activities going on there with the El Toro water, and I had no clue.
Okay, I'll get that for you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Any question? Yes.
I don't know whether this is a problem. It probably isn't. But I noticed that in our compostables, a lot of people are putting stuff in plastic bags. I don't know whether that constitutes a problem, but maybe we should be asking, unless you know the answer.
As long as they're compostable plastic bags, we're fine.
But
But
of
if
course,
not-
most of them are just not compostable. Does that represent a problem for our
Yes.
garbage people?
Yes, and we'll
It-
continue to educate our residents about that.
Yeah, maybe
Thank
we
you.
should put a notice of some sort on the compostable bins to discourage them. Thank you.
Okay. Any question? Any more question? No? Now is the real time to go to item 9, I think, right? Okay, consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are recommended for action by committee and will be enacted by board by one motion. In the event an item is removed from the consent calendar by members of the board, such item shall be subject to further discussion and action by board. Item A, consistent with the statutory obligation, the board members individually reviewed third Laguna Hills Mutual preliminary financials for the month of August 2024, and by this vote ratify that such a review will be confirmed in this month board members' open session, meeting minutes per Civil Code 5501. B, recommendations from Finance Committee. 1, recommendation to approve a resolution for recording a lien against the member ID 931681-19. C and D's are, there's no consent calendar recommendation. So I'm asking for
I'll make a
move.
motion to approve
motion.
the consent calendar.
Okay?
I second.
Oh, Ruth the second? Okay. So any further question or? Okay, so we're
Voting?
approved, unanimous. Oh, voting?
We have to vote.
Okay. Eight to 0, this motion passed. Now, item 10, unfinished business. A, entertain motion to approve a resolution of Standard 39, balcony September initial notification, 28 days notification for member review and comment to comply with the Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. Ruth, I guess she's on Zoom, so Michaela or Paul, could you read the resolution, please?
Yeah, I'm happy to read the resolution. Let me pull it up. Okay. Resolution 0324XX, rescind Standard 39 balcony enclosures. Whereas the Third Laguna Hills Mutual recognizes the need to review standards as necessary, and whereas The mutual recently revised the language in Standard 22, patio and balcony coverings, to incorporate the processes currently contained in Standard 39, balcony enclosures, and whereas the aforementioned integration of procedures would create a duplication of information, the mutual recognizes the need to rescind Standard 39 balcony enclosures. Now therefore be it resolved, October 15th, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby rescinds Standard 39 balcony enclosures as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further that Resolution 03-0644, adopted September 19th, 2006, is hereby canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution.
Okay, so move. Robert and Moon second. So any further discussion?
I just have a question. What we're going to replace it with? Do we have?
Standard 22?
Standard 22 incorporates it.
Yes. So as we cancel this 39, then it will.
There was a
Okay,
separate one for
22.
balconies and patios. We just combined them into one.
Any further discussion? Let's vote on it. Okay.
Ruth, can I have your vote, please? Yes, thank you.
Aye.
Okay. Is the voting result is 8-9. It's motion passed. Okay, item 10B, entertain a motion to approve the amended rule for board meeting, September initial notification, a notification, 28 days notification for member review and comment to comply with the Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. So Michaela, could you read it one more time, please?
Sure. Resolution 03-24XX, rules for board meetings, whereas each owner member of Laguna Woods Village has an ongoing interest and right under California law to participate in the governance of their community. And whereas the Board of Directors of the Third Laguna Hills Mutual has an equal interest and duty under law to ensure that the management of the community's affairs is carried out professionally and in adherence with the provisions of the Davis-Sterling Act. And whereas the Board of Directors addressed the changes to the distribution of executive session agenda packets, now therefore be it resolved, October 15, 2024, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves the attached revised rules of board meetings, and resolve further that Resolution 03-2476, adopted July 16, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
Okay. Thank you, Michaela. Any motion to approve? Robert first, and then who's the second? Okay. Reza second. Any other question? Yes, please.
Is it my understanding, and having read all of this, that there are only really three changes? One is that instead of Village TV, it's staff can do the recording, and that the minutes will not include general commentary. That's on page 12 of 30 under 10B. And the only other change, if I'm correct, is the removal on page 14 that executive session agenda packets will not be distributed to directors in electronic form, that they now can be distributed in electronic. Those are the only two changes.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? Yes. I beg to differ. A major change is the fact that the new rule, as I read it, prevents members from being represented by counsel at disciplinary hearings. And that is an incredibly serious matter. It's my understanding that for the past 60 years, when we had disciplinary matters, we had attorneys. And attorneys are the only people that can make objections, such as the fact that the members' rights are being violated. Now, there's been a lot of discussion about whether our members are entitled to due process. I would strongly recommend that everybody look at the davissterling.com website of the law firm Adams Sterling, which is a great repository to our legal stuff. A senior partner there is named Larry Sterling, who not coincidentally is actually a co-author of the Davis-Sterling Act. And in it, it substantially notes what members are entitled to. They are entitled to substantive due process and procedural due process. And I cite the case of Kurtz versus Federation.
Point of order.
Patank.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yes.
That doesn't appear to be a change. That's what I'm asking. I asked what the changes were. That, what you're talking about is not a change in this document.
I believe it is, because it says you cannot
But
bring-
that's just consistent with what the document previously has said.
Right, yes.
So it's not a change in the new proposed document. It's consistent with the old. So I think your issue is out of order at this point, because all we're doing is reflecting what current changes are being made.
And what I'm saying is, we should not accept this resolution. The whole thing stinks. It violates our obligation, and it is essentially, to the extent that that's so, and I don't know that.
So
But
in that case, can we discuss about his argument for the discussion after today?
No,
Yeah.
he has a
If I may-
right to object.
Right.
To
Yeah.
this, and he's stating his objection, but I don't think you need to go into all of that legal detail. You're just opposed to this because the individual rights of the member not to have legal counsel is not here as you would like it to be.
I guess you might
Okay.
say that.
So that
okay.
summarizes, I
Sure.
mean, that,
Yeah.
So can you
Yes,
respond?
thank you,
His-
Mr. President.
Yes.
So before you is the rules for board meetings. It has to do with the conduct and the process for these open type of meetings. Like Director Muchnick said, the grievances that Mr. Director Solons Jules is having has to do with the member disciplinary process, which you have a policy for and you have a resolution attached to it. That's not on the agenda for today.
Right.
If you wish to discuss that and review in detail and whether you allow lawyers to be present or not at hearings, that's definitely a discussion to be had, and it would be best presented at the Residency Policy and Compliance Committee to start reviewing, if the board wishes to review the process in its entirety. For today, in your agenda before you is just the rules of board meetings, which has to do with your open sessions. And there's only 3 changes with which Director Muchnick outlined.
Yes. So any further discussion?
Yeah, so what we really should do is to table this thing or send it back to the Resident Policy Committee so that they can address that serious issue. That's what
No, I
It's
think
two different
what we're hearing,
policies.
that a separate procedure that need to go to the policy committee and work on.
I'm fine
This
with that.
is a separate,
Let's send it-
that
let's
one,
send
no,
it back.
not this one. There is a separate procedure that they're talking about that need to be worked on, not this one.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm
That's-
suggesting that we therefore,
It's separate.
yeah, I understand that
Okay.
it's separate.
Okay,
I understand.
so
I'm saying we should not accept it. We should simply send the whole thing back.
So, Director, are you making that as a motion, or is that just in response to what's on
I'd
the
be
floor?
sure call it as a motion.
Okay, he's made a motion. Any second?
There's already a motion on the table right now.
Right.
To approve this item, so
Yeah, that's the second.
if Director Zalin wants, he can oppose the motion
Okay.
or make an amendment.
Okay.
technically speaking, if he wants to move to table the motion as opposed to sending it back, he can move to table, which takes precedent over the current motion.
Thank you, counsel.
Okay.
Sure,
You're moving to table?
yes.
Any second? No? So let's proceed for the voting then. Everybody, okay? Yep, let's move it. What takes this? Ruth, who hasn't voted yet, Craig?
Director Reinhardt. There we go.
Okay, good. So voting result is yes 7, no 1, so motion has passed. Thank you. Okay, 10A and 10B is done. Now 11, new business. Entertain motion to approve update of committee assignment. Michaela, could you read the assignment in detail, please?
Yes, sir. Resolution 0324XX, third mutual committee appointments, resolved October 15, 2024, that the following persons are hereby appointed to serve on the committees and services of this corporation. Resolved further that each committee chair may appoint additional members and advisors with interim approval by the president, subject to the approval of the board of directors. For Finance Committee, we removed David Veneman as the chair. Craig Wayne was added as the chair, with Robert Muchnick added, and the removal of Nathaniel Ira Lewis. Architectural Control and Standards Committee added Moon Yoon as the chair. Ruth Johnson removed Nathaniel Ira Lewis and David Veneman. Landscape Committee added Ruth Johnson, removed David Veneman. For Maintenance and Construction Committee, removed James Cook, added Robert Muchnick. Resident Policy and Compliance Committee, removed Mark Laws, removed Chris Prince, added S.K. Park as the chair, added Ruth Johnson, added Robert Muchnick, removed Nathaniel Ira Lewis, and added Craig Wayne as the alternate. For the Executive Hearings Committee, they removed Mark Laws as the chair, removed Jim Cook, removed Chris Prince, and removed David Veneman as an alternate, as well as removed S.K. Park as an alternate, but added S.K. Park as the chair, added Reza Karimi, added Ruth Johnson, Craig Wayne as the alternate, and Brad Reinhardt as the alternate. For the Water Conservation Committee, removed Reza Karimi, Nathaniel Ira Lewis, and David Veneman, and added Craig Wayne. For the Garden Villa Recreation Room Committee, removed SK as the chair, but he's still on the committee, added Moon Yoon as the chair, added Ruth Johnson, and removed David Veneman. For the Executive Committee, removed Mark Laws, Jim Cook, Chris Prince, Nathaniel Ira Lewis, and David Veneman, and added Craig Wayne, Robert Muchnick, and Ruth Johnson. Resolve further that Resolution 03-24-105, adopted August 20th, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution.
I make the motion to approve the.
Reza first, and then Robert second. Any further discussion? I don't hear anything, so let's vote. Second?
Don't touch anything yet. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, it's working on.
You're slow.
Here we go.
Good? Good.
And Ruth, is that a yes?
Yes,
Thank you.
I'm raising my hand.
Okay.
Okay. So motion, yes 7, no 1, motion passed. So committee assignment is set to go. Now, a GRF committee appointment. Michaela, could you read it, please?
Yes. Resolution 03-24XX, GRF Committee Appointments, resolved October 15, 2024, that in compliance with Article 7, Section 7.3 of the Golden Rain Foundation bylaws, the following persons are hereby appointed to serve on the committees of the Golden Rain Foundation. For Community Activities Committee, removed S.K. Park and removed Moon Yoon as the alternate. He's still on the committee. Added Robert Muchnick, and then added Reza Karimi as the alternate. For finance, removed David Vineman, Nathaniel Ira Lewis, added Craig Wayne, removed Moon Yoon as the alternate, he's still on the committee, and then added Robert Muchnick as the alternate. For the landscape committee, removed Reza Karimi as the alternate, he's still on the committee, and Craig Wayne is now the alternate on that committee. Maintenance and construction committee, removed SK Park. Reza Karimi, removed him as an alternate, he's still on the committee, and added Robert Muchnick as an alternate. Media and communications, removed Chris Prince, added Ruth Johnson and Craig Wayne. Broadband Ad Hoc Committee removed Chris Prince and Jim Cook, added Reza Karimi, Robert Muchnick, and Moon Yoon as an alternate. There's no changes for Mobility and Vehicles Committee. Security and Community Access Committee removed SK Park and removed David Vineman, who is the alternate, added Ruth Johnson as the alternate, and added Craig Wayne. Disaster Preparedness Task Force removed SK Park and removed David Vineman, who was the alternate, added Jules Zalon, and added Craig Wayne as the alternate. Laguna Woods Village Traffic Hearings removed David Vineman as the alternate, added Robert Muchnick as the alternate. For the ITAC Committee, removed Mark Laws and added Reza Karimi. Space Planning Ad Hoc Committee removed Reza Karimi and added Moon Yoon. Select Audit Committee removed David Vineman, added Craig Wayne.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to ask, Rob, move first, and then who's the second?
Here.
Okay. Reza second. Any discussion or objection? No? Let's vote it. Okay, voting result, yes 7, no 1, motion passed. I'd like to mention one thing about the GRF committee assignment. The person who is in the top would be the reporter on our meeting. The first one.
I
would be the-
object.
You object. Yes.
SK, I want to go back to open to new business because I didn't have a chance to make a statement that I think is necessary. I have just distributed a copy of the effective language in the resolution that excludes me from closed sessions. And as you can see there, the resolution by its very terms has already expired. And I wish to make a statement to explain that before we finish up. The resolution clearly set the date of its own nullification. Before you is a copy of the effective language found in the resolution, so you can see for yourself that it no longer applies. Let's read it together. Resolved that the board hereby establishes an executive committee to be made up of all directors currently serving on the board, except me, for the purpose of executing all the duties of the committee. That's with respect to closed. So the question is, who were the, quote, directors currently serving on the board on September 13th, 2023? Here's who. Mark Laws, Chris Prince, Kush Bada, Donna Raid Sostak, Ira Lewis, SK Park, Andy Ganocchio, Ralph Engdahl, Jim Cook, and Moon Young, and me, of course. So according to this resolution, the sole basis for my exclusion, this special executive committee established to execute all executive functions is comprised of Moon Young, SK Park, and 8 individuals who are no longer on the board. Hey, I didn't draft this provision. Your lawyer did. And since the resolution by its terms is limited to only that group of 10 individuals, logically, the resolution necessarily terminated when the makeup of the board changed. As a lawyer, I can assure you, there's simply no other way to interpret it. Come on, folks, let's logic this out. What other interpretation is possible? If that earlier board intended the resolution to remain permanently in place, it would violate the Davis-Sterling provision that limits boards to 3-year terms. Remember, we are now 2 board elections removed from that resolution. Should we call back those 8 dearly departed former directors to conduct all of our business, which would be illegal? Any claim that the resolution remains in effect emasculates the board. It takes away the board's power. You'd be unable to conduct business. You can't choose which section of a resolution you want. You can't take one from column A and one from column B. So what does this discussion prove? That the exclusionary resolution is no longer in effect. And we don't actually have to do a darn thing to put me back in closed. But there's more. Over the
Point
past
of order.
several-
Point of order,
Just
please.
hold on, please. Yes, go ahead.
I gather you're moving in the direction of wanting to add this to the agenda. Is that correct?
I would like to add it to the agenda.
The agenda has already been approved.
Yes.
At the very beginning. If you wanted to add it to the agenda, you should have asked to have it added to the agenda when the agenda was approved.
As far as it may be technically, you may be technically correct, but since the entire operation, everything that this board did on the agenda is illegal and violates
That's an opinion.
Well, okay, so let me finish and then you can reject it, but at least give me the courtesy of making the statement.
Please do.
So, to proceed further, hold you 1 second. I'd like to go ahead with our current agenda at this point. So if you want to add that to any agenda, please come to the next agenda.
No, I'm making the statement now.
No, we already set to proceed
Yes, I
with the
understand
agenda.
it, and you can,
Thank you.
You can
Yes.
reject it, but I'm going to make the statement.
So
and I
please-
think it would be a lot less time-consuming if you simply allow me the courtesy, give me the good grace of making my statement, and then you can reject it.
You have raised this issue for many times already, and we're wasting
No, I
our
haven't
time.
raised
Please.
this issue.
Mr. Chair, I request, let Jules finish his statement. We all got to listen.
Thank you very much.
Let him finish.
Okay, over the last couple of years, Third has removed from the rule book scores of superseded resolutions and rules to enable curious members to understand what rules apply and what rules don't. And so I would move that we remove the resolution from our legal documents, but let me add there's an immediate benefit to my participation in this afternoon's closed session, because I will prove to you that our lawyer, almost certainly because of his personal antipathy towards me, committed malpractice that may have cost the mutual and our members more than $50,000. And I'm not sure he ever told the truth about that embarrassing incident, but with a few pointed questions, I can drag the answer out of him. And if I'm successful, I just might be able to get all that money back that we have already spent on our lawyer. However, the only way I can determine if that is true would be for me to get back all the powers granted by the Davis-Sterling Act to directors as a matter of course, including obtaining access to confidential documents. The answer almost surely will be found in documents that I wish to examine. So now that I have given you 3 strong reasons for inviting me back, 1, it terminated, the resolution terminated as soon as the board composition changed. The resolution was improperly adopted in the first place, and excluding me from today's closed session may very well cost this mutual and our members more than $50,000. Isn't that a great reason for accepting my suggestion and recognizing that right now I'm already back in closed session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? No? Let's move on to our agenda. So move, the new business A, 11 new business A and B are already completed. Now,
No,
third,
B has, we haven't talked about the B.
oh, yeah, A.
We completed
Yeah,
A.
complete A, and then B is discussion to extend a monthly invitation to Laguna Woods Village City Council member to present at the meeting.
Yeah, let's make a motion, then I'll talk about it.
Yes. Okay,
I'll
in a
second it.
second.
Yeah, I talked to a couple of consuls from the Laguna Woods City. They're willing to come here and let us know what's going on within the city. And I think that's going to be very beneficial to our membership, to know exactly what's going on within the city. But they need official invitation from us to come here in our meeting, in our open meeting, and tell us what's going on in this. I know that VMS really stay on top of those things, but sometimes it's better to hear from the, from them directly. That's what's going on in the city, going to help us to make, charter, discussion and approach. If that's acceptable, we have to send an invitation to the council and ask for their participation on a monthly basis in our meeting.
So, is it staff organized all the meetings? And okay, so could you respond?
Yes, President. Staff can send out an invitation, and we'll have Catherine Laster coordinate that.
Okay, good. So
you can vote.
Let's vote. We gotta wait, Robert.
Robert vote already.
Oh, he already voted. Okay, let's vote. What about the Ruth? Oh, she voted
Correct.
already too.
Correct.
I voted already.
Randy's outside.
Correct, yeah.
6. Korea. Okay.
And Jules?
Abstain 1.
Abstain.
Okay.
So okay.
Motion
Voting
passes.
result is yes 6, abstain 2. So it's been passed, and the staff will organize and send the invitation letter to City Hall. Okay? Yes, good, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I request a 5-minute break since everybody in the bathroom. We'll take a bathroom
So,
break before we
yeah, let's
start
do
the
that.
reports.
It's been long hours, so let's take a 5-minute break, okay?
Yeah, just.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
This is the Treasurer's report for October 15th today. So on slide 1, you see through the reporting period August 31, total revenues of about $32 million compared with expenses of $28.9 million, resulting in a net revenue of almost $3.1 million. On slide 2, you see our finance department keeps a close eye on the operating portion of our financial results. The operating fund shows a surplus of $88,000 through the reporting period. This table shows how much of our revenue went into operations, with about $18.5 million coming in from assessments and $2 million coming in from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to operating expenditures of $20.4 million, and that's without depreciation. On slide 3, the next table takes the full income statement and compares those results to budget. We can see the third end of the period better than budget by $1.3 million when combining both operating and reserve revenues and expenses. Slide 4. On this side, we show the most significant variance from budget. Starting from the top of the graph, employee compensation and related was favorable $667,000, primarily in landscape and M&C departments due to open positions. Impacted areas include ground maintenance, irrigation, paint, and manor alterations. Recruitment is in progress to fill these open positions. Grounds maintenance contracted shrub bed maintenance to outside vendors for the pruning, weeding cycle, and they continue to fill open positions. Insurance was favorable to $571,000, primarily in property insurance as a result of a new joint policy with United that began June 1, 2024. It was at that time that United agreed to something that we had proposed long ago. And by agreeing to that, that gave us some buying power that we no longer had when we are separated. The merger lowers thirds premium for property insurance by sharing that coverage. Investment income was favorable by $560,000 due to Treasury bills yielding a higher return than anticipated. Investments averaged 4.9% return compared to a budgeted return of 2.5%. Now, in this area, you probably know that the Treasury is lowering interest rates now. So our accounting department and I, as a registered investment advisor, will be looking at this area to see how we can improve our return on investments. Outside services were favorable by $526,000, primarily due to the timing of program expenditures within landscape and M&C compared to the budget spread. The most significant areas include prior to paint, paving, roofing, and waistline remediation. For the favorable programs, work began later than the budget anticipated, but is expected to be completed by year end. Legal services, or legal fees, were unfavorable by $167,000 due to more resident-related legal fees than anticipated. Finally, fees and charges to residents. Fees and charges to residents were unfavorable by $910,000, primarily due to less revenue than anticipated for backlog damage restoration cases. The anticipated revenue for the Third's 2024 budget was based on a sample of open damage restoration cases that represented an average cost of $4,000 per incident. The actual cost per incident was lower than the sample data represented. Hearings for backlog damage restoration charges have been taking place and are anticipated to continue by year end. So we had requested people pay these fees, but since we were in arrears because of the pandemic, we're now trying to catch up. Slide 5. In this table, we present our non-assessment revenues earned to date by category and compare them to the current year's budget and the prior year's year-to-date actuals. Our largest revenue generating categories as of August 31, 2024 were resident maintenance fees, investment income, and sales and leasing fees. Non-assessment revenue totaled $3 million through the reporting period. Slide 6. In this table, we present our expenses to date by category and compare them to the current year's budget and the prior year's year-to-date actuals. Our largest expense categories as of August 31, 2024 were employee compensation and related, outside services, and insurance. Expenses totaled $28.9 million through the reporting period. Slide 7. The non-operating fund balance on August 31, 2024 was $36.5 million. Year-to-date contributions and interest were $12 million, while year-to-date expenditures were $8.4 million. Slide 8. We compare the non-operating fund balances to historical fund balances for the past 5 years on this chart, which has averaged $31.7 million. Third Laguna Hills Mutual has been committed to supporting reserve requirements and having more contingency funds for unexpected events. Slide 9. We have a slide here to show resale history from 2022 to 2024. Through August 31, 2024, third resales totaled 246, which is 7 more resales than the prior year for the same period. The average year-to-date resale price for the third mutual was $617,000, which is $81,000 higher than the prior year for the same period. Okay. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, I turn it back to you, SK.
Yes,
Oh,
Moon.
Moon.
Slide 5.
Could you turn?
Slide 5. Resident maintenance fee, it includes the damage restoration backlog income revenue. And year 2023, we have 576, and the year 2024, we are budgeted 2,077, which is about 1,500 more, and which is about 3.6% compared to year 2026. My question is, maybe Steve can answer for me. If this is catching up, but if that will be concluded in the 2024, or it's going to extend more spilled over 2025?
So the backlog of the revenue is to be completed in this year. So in the previous year, so in 2023, we budgeted $750,000 for the backlog revenue. And then in 2024, we budgeted $2.25 million. So we will be completed with that backlog. There will always be a trail, right? So of say a year to two in terms of pulling all the information together. But the backlog that we're referring to is between 2020 and 2022. That's what we've been budgeting for.
Yes.
Aren't we still hearing appeals from people, and some of those appeals could carry over, right? I mean, if we're, each month, we're getting appeals from residents on those issues that the board has to review, to speak to Dr. Moon's point, that could carry over, some of that.
Sure. Very likely to be the case. So what's been communicated to me is that the anticipation is to complete by year end.
Yes.
But to your point, absolutely. If the appeals continue, I would anticipate it could continue on for a period of time.
So
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
There'll be some spillover, but what percentage are we collecting, or we are giving up, or giving up, let's say 50%,
Sure.
80%, what percentage are we collecting so far?
So in just terminology, collecting or billing? So
Billing is one thing, but how much we are receiving it?
So we've been, right now from a delinquency perspective, we're not seeing a large uptick in delinquencies as a result of this backlog revenue. So not to go into any level of detail, I would not anticipate your bad debt increasing as a result of this.
Yes.
So effectively, you're collecting pretty much all of it, right? So some things will linger, but you have a reserve in place to account for any potential bad debts.
I checked with the damage restoration about the current backlog, percent, all that. I forgot those numbers, but he made sure, the department made me sure that we will collect all the damage restoration backlog by end of this year. That's what I was told.
Okay.
I would clarify, from a billing perspective, I'm confident we'll get, with the exception of any appeals, that we will bill everything that is due to you by the end of the year. From a collections perspective, that will determine, obviously, if we send a bill on December 31st, it's not going to be collected until the
We'll
next
continue
year.
to.
But for the most part, we're not seeing a lot of bad debt result out of this.
Okay, first. Robert, yes.
But it's also possible that some of the debt will be in the form of a lien against property, so we won't see that money for a long period of time, potentially.
Correct. So, but we haven't run into that extensively as of yet.
But it's still
It's a possibility. Correct?
Yes. Brett?
I just had a quick question. What's going on with your investment strategy with the interest rates starting to drop?
So we discussed the investment strategy multiple times during the year. So
Okay.
the last conversation we had was probably 3 to 4 months ago. We brought to the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee at that time agreed to just maintain the current strategy of investing in T-bills that mature in 1 year, and then we ladder in 1 year. So my expectation is our next Finance meeting is scheduled for December 3rd. So we will revisit it once again now that the new committee members are going to be seated, and we'll continue. If there's a change in the strategy, we'll move forward.
Okay.
So that strategy would have to
Yes.
be adopted by the board, though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, on slide 4, can you put that one up? We are in, slide 4, yeah. We are in fourth quarter. Fee and charges to residents, 910 short. How much of it we can recover in the fourth quarter, or any recoverable items there?
I would anticipate that number is going to be static through the remainder of the year.
So we're going to be short 910?
Correct.
Do you know why?
Plus or minus $100,000.
Why? Do you know why? Why we're going to be short?
Well, as Treasurer Wayne mentioned earlier, so when we created this expectation a couple of years ago now, we anticipated the backlog totaling $3 million. Again,
Okay,
$750 in 23 and $2.2 million in 2024. As of right now, we've concluded on about $2.1 million of the hearings. So we have another $200,000 to go, is what our anticipation is. We billed $1.8 million as of right now. So there's not really much flexibility left in that number. So I would
am I
anticipate
hearing
this.
right? It's
Yeah.
going to be a write-off, 910?
So no, again, this is not a write-off. This is a difference between what we budgeted. So we made an estimate. We came up with a number, and then 2 years ago, facts didn't align with our assumptions made 2 years ago. And as a result, the revenue that's coming in is less than what we had forecasted. Again, there's no write-off. We will bill we will attempt to collect whatever we build. So again, in the finance meeting, we had a conversation, the difference between the forecast versus actuals.
So if I understood correctly, what we're saying that we're going to bill less $910,000 this year. We are
Correct.
not going to bill.
Correct. We will not.
So that
bill
means that, whatever we put in the budget, it was overestimated.
Absolutely.
And this is 910, continue through the year, so we don't expect any changes pretty
Correct.
much.
Correct.
Okay.
Where, yes. Okay. I'm receiving a lot of phone calls and a lot of people talking to me about receiving this bill 2-3 years ago happened. And they don't know what all the detail entailed. So my question is, since this year end, for year 2025, our billing cycle is maybe a couple months, right? If it happened, maybe within 2-3 months we can build instead of wait for 2-3 years.
That's the target, correct? Some of the damages are complex and can take probably up to 6 months before they can compile all the information together, schedule a hearing to take place. So it can run a little bit long, but we have no expectation that we're going to have a repeat effect as we did back in the pandemic.
Yeah, any business, whenever you have a billing cycle about 2-3 years, your collection rate is really going down.
Agreed.
Okay, so I would like to see that within 2-3 months in a billing cycle instead of 6 months or a year. And the resident already forgot the instance, and then they receive the bill and they'll go up in air.
Sure.
Both arms going up in the air.
Before they receive, just for clarification, if we're still talking about damage restoration, the expectation is there's a hearing, right? So there's a hearing that gives all the details to their bill. So I really hope that there would be no surprises. It's unfortunate that the duration from the time that the occurrence happened versus when it's been billed, that is unfortunate.
Okay, Robert.
Just to clarify from my understanding, there's the billing point in time, but prior to the billing point in time, is there notification to the resident that this issue is open, that there will be a bill forthcoming, as it's determined? Or is it just the first contact with the resident, the bill?
As I see it, the
not the
resident
answer
just
that I
gets a
would-
bill.
What's that?
As I see it, the resident just gets a bill.
What's your procedure?
So I don't like this answer I'm going to provide, but that's a different department who makes that communication, so I don't have that answer.
Yeah, I guess what my suggestion is that prior to the person receiving the bill,
Sure.
that they receive some notification earlier on in the process that this is being compiled, when it's complete, et cetera, there'll be a bill forthcoming.
Yes, I think we do have that procedure.
I thought we have a hearing.
Carlos is saying we do.
Yes, we do have a 15-day grace period to send the bill to notification to residents, I believe, after hearing is completed.
Sure.
No, that's after the hearing. I'm
No.
talking about there's damage. There's a situation
Oh,
where there's
that-
damage. And that we know that there's going to be a bill at some point.
Yes, that's correct. We do have a pretty robust notification, both in person and telephonic, that does advise them. And we've been modifying that to make sure that not only do we follow up, but that they understand what was given to them.
Right. Okay, yes.
Yeah, many residents feel they are getting that service free, and then when they receive the bill, they didn't know what is going on. On top of that, United, they don't get the bill most of the time. So United are taking care of inside all the, the repairs, but we don't. So we have to charge them, but they have to. It would be nice when our people goes out to help them or repair, remind them there will be bill coming in. It's a billable service. And they think that is not billable, getting free. And then when they got bill, they are getting very, very surprised, and then compared to United.
Okay.
Okay, may I ask another question? In same the finance. Okay, I want to see that page 9, slide 9. It sells, okay, resale history and all that, and I don't know, some months it goes down, some months up, but GRF getting now about 7,500 each sale.
With some exceptions, that's correct.
Yeah, and then I got wind of what they're saying, they may increase to up to 10 grand.
Potentially.
Okay, I don't know, that's in air, but someone was, saying we discussed that, and so to me, the house is sold in the Third Mutual House or United House or in their 50s. And so we are not getting any benefit.
Correct.
If you
So
want me to, I can
I'm concerned, or at least I'm going to raise the question, why? And the house is sold in my backyard, I don't get anything.
Yes, please, Robert.
I understand your concern. My understanding is that from a legal perspective, the law is such that that money can go to GRF and only be used by GRF. It is not to go to the mutuals. That's the law. So it's not a matter of what we would like, it's a matter of what legally is allowed.
Yeah, and if I can expand upon that. So forgive me for not knowing the year, but there was maybe 15, 20 years ago, forgive me, I don't know, but law was put in place, to Director Muchnick's point, that you cannot have a transfer fee. However, GRF had already implemented that fee prior to that cutoff, so therefore they've grandfathered into it.
Right.
So they're continuing to allow it. But if Mutual 50, Third, United wants to institute it, they're unable to. We've had conversations with the attorney, and the answer is repeatedly no, 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 no.
Okay, I have a question regarding that. Is there any chance that we can change the law or rules?
That's always an option, right? But that's
Okay.
beyond my pay grade, so that would be a conversation with
Okay,
the legal
so
counsel and.
if housing mutuals directors voted on, then that can be done? No.
You would take that to the California legislature,
Okay.
and you would have
Thank
a
you. I will
lobbyist
do that.
speak on your behalf.
Yes. No, yes.
Yeah. My question same as the President talked, but law is made by human being. We are human being. So we can change it, we can amend it. It's made by human being.
I don't think it's a
So
HOA.
I like to look at it, study it, so we all can benefit.
Okay,
Thank you.
I will work on it, yes.
I don't think it's an HOA or HOA bylaws. I think it's either a state or federal law, correct?
State law.
So
It's a
we
state
don't,
law.
yeah, we don't have any control over that, other than we could also go and say we don't want to charge it anymore, and GRF would lose that funding. But unfortunately, I think they would make up for that funding somewhere else.
Is it state law, like you said?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's part of the Davis Sterling law. And
Okay.
if you look it up, it's referred to as a transfer fee.
Okay, we spent a lot of time.
But-
Let's move on.
Yeah, there is, I think on top of that, that's absolutely correct, is a law, is a state law, and it goes to GRF. But then relationship between and they'll be used by GRF, but the mutual can, I assume, that work on the bylaws and see if they can be changed to the point that be used in different ways, which benefit the mutuals and the GRF. I think that's the questions they're asking. It's not going to the, Sacramento and changing the law, is what we can do internally. All of the mutual and GRF benefit from this. I think that's a question that is being asked, I assume.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it depends on the what. I went through the state senator, I changed many laws for the medical practice, okay? we can do that if how urgent or how desperate we are or what we really need. I don't have any legal base over this practice of GRF. May I get that may I have that legal base on the what this
It's
practice?
in David Sterling, under transfer fee.
Yes.
In the book.
I will go ahead and forward it to the treasurer, and if he wants to disseminate it out to the rest of the group,
Okay.
happy to do so.
Yeah.
But I would also encourage you, so United is having the same conversations.
Right.
So, to avoid any duplication of effort, I would encourage you to have conversations with United President and
Yes.
pursue that method.
Yes, the current thinking line is, okay, GRF has raised our transfer fee from 1,500 to 7,500. So that means they can lower it as well, I think. So if they lowered, then we can impose our own transfer fee, both United and Third, then we can, my thinking is we can impose that transfer fee for our own benefit.
That's not my understanding. I
No.
think the understanding is it resides in the GRF. GRF has the grandfather authority
I
to make
understand.
that billing. United and Third do not, so you would not be able to participate in that
Okay,
sharing of
so-
revenue.
Okay, we'll come up with something. Okay, thank you. So let's move on. It currently impossible to get that money, I guess, unless they generously donate it to us, I guess. Okay, so yeah. Okay, now 12A is done, right? Report is done. Now, 12B, Architectural Control and Standard Committee. Brad, would you report that?
For the M&C committee, we had no changes. I can't find the dates here. Oops.
Yeah, we're on ACSC.
ACSC?
Yeah, so
Oh, apologies.
the meeting was postponed this month.
Yeah, exactly, because we're changing chairmanship, so we postponed it.
Okay, good, thank you. So C, a report of the MNC Committee Director Reinhardt, please.
The MC committee did hold our regularly scheduled meeting, and we have the next one scheduled, but that's on a 2-month schedule, so we don't have anything new on there either.
Okay. Report of Landscape Committee. I do have something to report. Third Mutual Landscape Committee reporting was, committee meeting was held on October 10th, 1:30 p.m. in this boardroom. Department head updated for project law, tree works, union workers, training, quality control monthly report. Committee discussed and considered the following. Committee denied the 3 removal of request matters 5065, 3205, 3231D, and then 5391A, but approved the 1 cottonwood tree at 5391A. Discussed the retaining wall request at the corner of 5391 and defer the matter to MNC committee. C, staff reported the annual habitat and enhancement project status report, so-called firewall. And also, committee discussed the current status of post-painting program surrounding building 3312 and 3329. Third, landscape committee next meeting is scheduled on November 7th at 9:30 a.m. in this boardroom. Thank you. Okay, report of Water Commission Committee, Conservation Committee, Director Zalen.
I continue to be throttled in attempting to obtain copies of the water bills. We had invited to the April meeting a water conservation expert that offered to provide numerous procedures for not only saving money, but obtaining subsidies from the state as long as she could look at the bills. For reasons that were never explained to me, those water bills have been withheld. So I was unable to provide them to our expert, and therefore the expert was unable to give us all of her ideas for not only how to save money, but how to obtain state subsidies, which would cut down our costs.
Okay.
This made no sense to me, and as a consequence, I do not plan to conduct any further water committee meetings because the very essence of them has been throttled.
Okay, thank you. I want to discuss with the Director Kurt later on. F, report of Resident Policy and Committee, Director Karimi, please.
Yeah, the committee met on August 27, which was reported in the previous meetings. The next meeting is October 22nd at 9:30 p.m. in 9:30 a.m. in boardroom, and is a virtual meeting.
Okay, now move to item 13, GRF Committee highlight. GRF Community Activity Committee, Director Yoon.
You're up. Oh.
You are on top of list. You are reporting.
Committee meet, let me see, July 15, and they discussed how the media and the website are used, the activities reported, and also they were discussed about the
Reporting different committee.
Yeah, we're doing a CAC. That was last week.
Reporting on CAC.
Oh, CAC?
Yes.
Where's CAC?
So you met
Page-
last
You're on
Page
GRF
3.
October 10th.
No, the first
CAC.
one.
That's where you are.
There is a Director Buck.
It says Director
Okay.
Park on it.
So I was not there. You and,
I wasn't.
The most recent one, the one the other day.
Okay, yeah, but.
okay.
Okay, the recent one, a couple of days ago we met and we had a quite exciting discussion about ladies aqueduct, so we increased the activities and the support to them. Also, we discussed about equestrian fee, and we decided to raise it up a little bit. Not as much as we'd like to see, but they're gonna put up some more, their shares. And then there was a lot of rule changes of every activities. And the staff asked that most of them are passed without any change. Thank you.
Okay. Next two report will be first Laguna Woods Village traffic hearing, and the other one is the disaster preparedness task force. First, a closed traffic hearing was held on September 18, 2024, 9 a.m. in this boardroom. In the traffic hearing, 4 violations were reviewed as to failure to stop 3 and hit and run 1. And the results are all guilty and fine. Next traffic hearing schedule is on October 16, which is tomorrow, 9 a.m. in this boardroom. Next item is Disaster Preparedness Task Force Committee meeting was held on September 24th, 9:30 a.m. this boardroom. In that meeting, committee discussed agenda items as follows. Staff reported a radio antenna installation on clubhouse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 is finally approved and installed. DPTF Expo was held at Clubhouse 5 on October 8th. I hope many our residents visited there and get some equipment or things they need for disaster preparedness. And also, item 3, Jacob Green Association reported disaster preparedness gap analysis for Laguna Woods Village as well. Next, the DPTF meeting is scheduled on November 26, 2024. Thank you. Next item is a GRF Maintenance and Construction Committee, Director Reinhardt, please.
The committee met on September 19th. There was nothing out of the ordinary that was discussed at that meeting. Our next meeting is December 11th at 9:30 in the boardroom and is a virtual meeting.
Okay, thank you. GRF Finance Committee, Director Wayne? No?
I was not there for that.
Okay, so the committee met on September 18. Next meeting, October 18. That time, Director Wayne should be able to report the good GRF committee meeting. Now, GRF Mobility and Vehicle Committee, this committee met on August the 7th, and next meeting is scheduled for November 6th. So we don't have anything to report this time. GRF Lands Committee, the committee met on August 16, and next meeting is scheduled for November 13, and this time we don't have anything to report. GRF Media and Communication Committee, Director Yoon, the committee met July 15. Next meeting is scheduled October 30th, and we don't have anything to report at this point. Space Planning Ad Hoc Committee, Director Karimi, this time we don't have anything to report. Information Technology Advisory Committee, I do have something to report. GRF ITAC, which is Information Technology Advisory Committee, meeting was held, scheduled on October 18 at 1:30 p.m. as a closed web meeting. This advisory committee overseeing the development and the implementation of Microsoft-based Dynamic 365 software program, so-called ERP, for entire Laguna Woods Village organization. Since September 1 go live, current status of the program has been installed very successfully. Several key areas of the implemented ERP systems are financial management, procurement and sourcing, inventory and warehouse management, project accounting, asset management, budgeting, account receivable, and account payable. Those areas are now live and well implemented. As of October 11, 2024, Dynamic 365 is now successfully launched and implemented in finance and operations. Next ITAC meeting schedule is on October 18 at 1:30 p.m. on web closed meeting. That's for ITAC report. And GRF Broadband Ad Hoc Committee, Director Karimi, this committee last met on August 27th and September 11th, September 12th. Next meeting is to be determined.
Yes.
And the GRF Security and Committee Access Committee, the committee last met on August 28th. Next meeting is scheduled October 23rd, 1:30 p.m. At this point, we don't have anything to report, but I will not be in this committee. Dr. Karimi and Dr. Yoon and Mr. Karimi will be there. So this all for GRF committee report. Now item 14, future agenda item. Any future agenda item do we have? None? Okay, now let's go to item 15, a director comment. Let's start with Robert.
President Park, thank you very much. This is my first meeting back after being gone for a couple of years, so I'm very pleased to be back, and I'm very pleased to be part of this group, and hopefully we can do good things as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Yun?
Thank you for everybody who put a lot of effort and time to make our life better here in the Third Mutual as well as Laguna Village. Thank you.
Next, Director Reinhardt?
I have no comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Karimi?
I just want to welcome all the 3 new members, and we're looking for 3 more new members. So the face of the board's going to be pretty kind of new, and we have a lot of issues, and I'm looking forward to work with everyone on the board and the members of the community to proceed with our, all the issues that we have within the community in the best way we can. Thank you.
Jules, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. Since the entire board was sent a lopsided set of documents that presumed to show the basis for my censure and exclusion from closed sessions, documents that actually are official documents of this board. I sent my own email intended to balance the facts, and I asked that that email, reproduced identically here, be attached to the minutes of the board meeting in order to make a formal record of my position. Is there any objection to that?
Any objection? Okay, so.
Okay, now, that's the first point. Thank you.
As long as it doesn't involve any legal or personal issues that is not supposed to be an open, I don't have any, I don't want to stop it. I just want to make sure that we are not going to be disclosing any legal or personal issues
There are
that
none
we all face. You're the attorney.
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
and I respect it.
Thank
you. I honestly believe that there is nothing there that's untoward.
Okay.
That's the first point. The second thing is, further to my objection to the board moving into closed discussion of my exclusion from closed sessions, SK just confirmed that the discussion will in fact take place this afternoon at the closed session. As I previously noted, that's prohibited by Davis-Sterling Act, Section 4935. That would be bad enough. But SK just confirmed to me that the discussion will take place in my absence. So not only am I not entitled to defend myself, I offered already to present evidence that our lawyer may have improperly charged us more than $50,000 despite having committed malpractice that is directly related to that dispute at issue. And then the lawyer is going to supervise the issue of my exclusion. Got it? These guys, these 7 directors, have no interest in recouping $50,000 if to do so requires them to allow me back into closed session, even to defend myself. Hey, what's more important, recouping 50 grand or keeping Jules Zallen out of their little sandbox? Well, these 7 directors elected to represent your interests have just told you, in my opinion, the way they have acted throughout this unpleasantness is scandalous.
Thank you. Wait.
I have no comment, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ruth, yes.
Yes.
Do you have any comment,
meeting.
Ruth?
Yeah, good meetings. Appreciate Robert helping us with the rules, getting us through it. And hopefully future meetings will be a little more brief.
Okay, good. Thank you. My comment is, Joe, we are trying to give you equal and fair opportunity to present you. But we have a new board of directors. They need to understand why you are being censured. So we will have a discussion with the lawyers and so forth, and then we will give you good opportunity to present to us. So we'll let you know. Thank you. And who else? Carlos, do you have any?
No comments, thank you.
Okay. So we are going to meet, what, next? Close the meeting after?
What time?
12:15. How's that sound?
Okay.
Okay. See you over there then. Thank you.